All right. A little bit of impromptu recording that we'll probably post immediately after.
Oh, I thought you were already recording.
You see the
No,
Defense
we're
Secretary, Treasury
recording
Secretary. We
right
are
now.
having this conversation as we always do when this
yeah.
starts. Who was the
State
so-called
of the Union.
designated survivor? Somebody from the
President,
administration who is sitting out. We're still waiting to figure out exactly who that is tonight.
Couch,
But
potato
these are
head,
a lot of the
whatever you want
folks,
to call
these
them.
cabinet secretaries who will also
But,
go
yeah,
out and
we're gonna
make the case for this administration as the president's going to start doing
Turn the volume down a little bit, man.
tonight, hitting the campaign
Volume on
trail
what?
in earnest.
On the
They
video.
will also be advocates and
not you,
surrogates
on
out there
the
talking about what their
clock.
individual departments have accomplished as well. But
How's that?
John, we were going to talk about the fact that I think that this White
Yeah.
House is going to point the blame at the House. Do you
There we
agree?
go.
As they should. I mean, what the American people want their representatives in Washington to do is to work together and solve problems. Bipartisanship is enormously popular.
Yeah, maybe we'll just post
Yeah, that's better. I just
tomorrow.
couldn't hear you.
Found a bipartisan solution.
Maybe we'll just post
the
this
border.
tomorrow for the morning
And we
drive.
all know we have a
I don't know.
border crisis.
Yeah.
We could be passing that
Something
law
like that.
today. The border would be more secure, but President Trump basically indicated he didn't want it passed, and everyone got in line.
A bunch of fucking lemmings.
The American people
It's not a
like
border
that.
bill.
They don't want the drama.
That's why I don't watch fucking this news shit,
They
man.
want solutions, and we have
It's not a border bill. It's just titled that.
waiting to become law, which would make the border more secure immediately. Just like, by the way, in 2012 or 2013,
Yeah, money's
when we
going to
had a
make the
bipartisan
border
bill,
secure
and the
immediately.
Republicans in
Right.
Congress wouldn't put it up for a vote. So
All you got to do is
make
fucking
these
sign your
House
name on a fucking
Republicans will also
executive
say, we
order
sent
and
over
fucking
HR
close
2,
the fucking
which
border.
they know Democrats can't agree to a lot of that.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly. You
say,
got to
we
do
sent
that,
them-
or you can just
But it was
enforce the laws
bipartisan
already
in
existing
2013.
instead of trying to bypass them.
Border bill
There's a
in the
reason why
Senate,
people
goes to the House,
run to
never put it up
the
for a
green
vote.
uniforms and not the brown.
A bipartisan border bill
Yeah,
coming out of the
exactly.
Senate would make the border more secure, just like the 2013 bill would have. It's not getting a vote.
No.
I mean,
And as we-
you
and as
can't
speaking
have
of the
my
border,
way or the highway. That's not how you run
I
a
just
country.
would note, we just saw the DHS Secretary Americas is now facing potential impeachment over what's happening at the border. Republicans trying to make
All
a
these
point on that.
motherfuckers
We'll see if it goes
that
anywhere.
you think that they they're fucking always at each other's throats. They're all fucking going out to fucking dinner after this and have drinks. And
Oh yeah, they're all part of the system. They know what's up. They know who really runs the country. It's not them.
and butt fucking each other and whatever.
Joe Biden got rid of that secure border. Never even talked to the
Hey
border
Jason, what's
patrol,
up, brother?
the person who was in charge of the border patrol, for goodness sake.
Same old, same old. How about
It
you?
is a point of contention, but they have not fixed it. They have not addressed it, and to blame Republicans is laughable.
Well,
Couldn't
I'll just say,
resist.
2 bipartisan border bills in the last 10
Did you
years.
post that,
bipartisan
the
border
morning
bills
drive?
would have made the border more secure. Never
No.
got a vote.
Yes, I did this
in the
morning.
Republican-controlled House of
Yeah.
Representatives.
Yeah, I
Let's
got
see
it.
it.
Secretary Cardona
Yeah,
is
I was
the one
running
who is
late
the
myself
designated
today.
survivor tonight. I want to go back to Chad again as we are awaiting the president's formal arrival there. We've got Supreme Court justices, we've got cabinet members. Chad, what can we expect once the president gets there? Because he's got a lot of pressure tonight, but he's going to get a lot of cheerleading on the way in from his party.
Sure.
That's right. He comes in with Bill McFarland, who is the House Sergeant at Arms, reads 8 words. Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States, Karen Gibson, who is the Senate Sergeant at Arms, they both escort him down the aisle here. And remember that this is something that is required in the Constitution, State of the Union, but not necessarily in this form. Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution mandates the President give Congress information on the State of the Union, but it wasn't always a speech. Remember that it was mostly a written report. That was until about 111 years ago, and the term State of the Union became part of the lexicon. That's with the advent of radio. And I remember some pictures back from the 1930s with FDR, who really embraced radio, this new medium. NBC, CBS, Mutual Radio setting up there. It was Harry Truman who first had the televised State of the Union speech. And then, as I said earlier, it went into prime time. But the thing to watch for is behavior. That's the one thing that we talked about earlier. Also, these contrasts, whether they talk about the border, whether or not some of the progressives, members of his own party, take him on in some ways, whether they do that after the speech. There's been some friction there. I talked to a political scientist,
or as Aaron would say, sniffy.
Cohen the other day, and he says he really has 2 challenges here. Former President Trump and
Wife
some
got killed and then
Democrats
he
in his
married the
party,
babysitter.
especially where there's this divergence of policy over the Middle East.
So which way is he walking today? Is he walking off stage? Is he jumping off stage? Is he surf crowding? What is he doing? Who knows?
It was a joint session of Congress. Joe Wilson, the Republican congressman,
Who knows what he's going to do today?
Nancy
The
Pelosi
bet is that he's
ripping
going to
up
get through
President
this.
Trump's speech. Those sight
Well, they're probably going to cut it
bites, as I'll
short.
call
It's
them,
probably not going
sight
to be that
bites
long.
are what we remember from these State of the Union speeches. If the
It's
president
probably going to be a.
Yeah, that's why I said it's the mumble of the union address.
Happens, that's what will go down in the history books.
You're absolutely right, Chad. And you mentioned that this president not only has to manage Republicans, but he does have some on the more progressive left flank of his party.
He's also got to manage his
Very
diaper
upset
too.
with what's happening between Israel and Gaza. We
Yeah,
heard that
maybe he
they
claps
want
his
to
pants.
hear him more forcefully call out Israel
He has a
tonight
Mitch
to
McConnell
put
moment.
pressure on them to be more strategic about their
It'll probably be
attacks
too high to
and
freaking
whether
have a
they
Mitch
go forward
McConnell
with the
moment.
ground offensive
Dude,
in
how classic
Rafah.
would that be
The
if you hit
president
Mitch
said earlier he
McConnell
would restate
during the
one
State of the
economy
Union?
with Israel, but he has ramped up his public criticism.
And then if Mitch McConnell had a reboot, so Joe Biden poops his pants and Mitch McConnell reboots.
That's his body double. See, she was wiping off his freaking stuff there, man.
Did you hear that? Did you catch that? He was. Oh, is he going to sniff him too?
Welcome to
That's Rand Paul. Why would you sniff Rand Paul?
Welcome to another episode of The
Who
Walking
knows?
Dead.
What am I doing here? I don't know. Where's the ice cream?
Yeah, I'm so fucking high.
Such a cruel joke, man. It's like a fucking sick joke.
Dude, I cannot even freaking imagine them rolling him out there.
Like, no, the thing is, they could pick anyone else, but they have him up there as like a fuck you to the whole nation. It's like, hey, this is what we think of you. You're old and decrepit. We're gonna reboot you.
Yep. They better get him up there before that fucking speed wears off.
I'm going up there because there's ice cream.
So I'm so high, I need some ice cream. I really need some ice cream. Can I smell your hair? Where's your daughter? Now, there's another slimy fucking slug.
All right, you're watching
They all are.
Biden, his final State of the Union
Okay,
address of
Schumer's
his
like the
first term.
slimiest of slugs.
A lot of well wishers
Yeah.
as he
Oh, there's
comes
McConnell
in
right there,
to
dude.
packed chamber tonight to make
Turtle,
his case on what
turtle.
he's accomplished, but also to make the case for the work he still has left to do. And
I have a
that
feeling
second
this is
term
going
that
to
he
turn
is
into a Mystery
going to
Theater
spend more
3000
time in
You
the
see what
episode.
Midwest,
Biden just
counting
said?
key states
Oh,
like
look at
Georgia
that.
and other
Yep.
swing states
I
where he
pooped
really
my
needs
pants.
to
And you
to
see
make
that?
inroads
Oh,
there. And
oh,
just like
it was a
that
big
is
one.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a
Oh,
vocal critic of this president in
whoa.
her MAGA gear there tonight. And also she
Shake
has
the
She's
leg.
wearing the hat.
she may, if she feels like needs to speak out tonight.
You know,
That's Marjorie.
she's wearing that hat because she's trying to get that VP role.
Yeah, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene right
Make a connection with the
there.
president, or at least make a connection with the TV cameras about the points that she's trying to make. In the meantime, I want to talk about
Wouldn't be
some of
bad
the
if they-
polling that shows us where he has an opportunity, where he needs to make up ground tonight. On the economy, has he handled it well or not? In our latest polling, he's underwater by 25 points. Has he made the U.S. safer? Underwater by more than 30 points. Has he unified the country?
He ain't
Underwater by
underwater in
43
anything, dude.
points on that point. And improving border security, he's upside down by 47 points. John, that's a lot of room for improvement.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of ground he can make up, and I think this speech is going to be part of that tonight. Look, I think these polls are interesting and they're relevant to a certain extent, but we're still a long way from the election. And there's a lot of things.
nasty back there.
Women's reproductive freedom, which he's going to talk about tonight. He's going to talk about how Roe v. Wade should be the law of the land. Every time that's been on the ballot, Democrats have won. So I wouldn't read too much into these polls. I think the president's going to give a very good speech tonight. He's going to talk about the progress of the economy, about how he turned this country around post-COVID, or how he's rebuilt our alliances overseas, how he's
They're trying to figure out who's the oldest person there. They all are.
CHIPS Act, the infrastructure bill.
Please sit close so they stand up straight.
And I think this will kind
I'm
of kick
living.
off. And I think it's going to be a successful run for the president between now and the election.
But do you all think that the polls where people feel like that he hasn't done a good job in handling all these things, are the polls wrong? Do they not give him credit for what he's done? or is that an accurate reading on where the electorate is? Because
That looks like the progressive caveman.
That's what matters.
Well, look, I think his
That's
policies have
Castro,
actually
isn't it?
failed. I think
The Texas
the
senator.
country's feeling it's about safety.
I don't know
Something
who
like
he
that.
is, but he looks like that fucking caveman off that commercial, man. No joke.
It feels dangerous.
He's even got like the hair all the way up, like on his cheeks, all the way up to his eyes and shit.
There's Manchin. There's your freaking vice president right there.
The president has a long way to go because he has implemented his policy. Democrats have the House and Senate and the presidency, and they lost.
I wouldn't be surprised if he chooses Manchin.
It's off track and needs a new direction.
And an interesting moment there.
Yeah, I don't know about that though. I don't think he would.
Hands with Senator Joe Manchin, who the White House has been very concerned would mount a third-party run, and so for them, a bit of relief that Joe Manchin has said he's not. He's also not running for his Senate seat, but he won't mount a challenge as popular as he is, kind of as a centrist in that argument that he's made. He won't be doing that this year. Now,
doesn't Manchin run the campaign of RFK?
About some kind of decision
I
about
think so. Maybe he does.
are
Yeah, I
going
think so.
to mount
I think
a
as a matter of
third-party
fact, he
run.
does.
And it really does
Yeah.
shake things up in our polling when you add another name. I mean, when you look at RFK Jr., Cornel West, a no labels party. Do you think that the White House is worried about that it would be a more negative impact on them to have a third party run, John, than it would for President Trump?
It depends who it is. I mean, if Mitt
90
Romney
people do.
is announced as the no labels candidate tomorrow,
I have to take a shower for a fucking week after I get out of there.
I think that's.
Did he just say Mitt Romney's going to be the no labels candidate?
What's happened with Nikki Haley and
I don't
President
think so.
Trump? There's a very large percentage of the Republican.
I think he did. If so, that
does
is
not want to vote.
that's the worst thing in the
The
world.
question is, so many of the Nikki Haley voters, and
Mitt
I was out there
Romney.
in Iowa
That's
and New
a
Hampshire and talking
joke.
to them, and we have this, our Fox News voter analysis, sort of an exit poll look from these people. Many of them weren't Republicans. In
If
some of
so,
these
that just
states,
shows that they
not
corrupt
open
every
primaries, and
positive
that's the
movement.
freedom that you have to
Every
vote.
time.
She had so many crossover people that were
Every time. They can't help
Democrats
themselves.
who chose to vote in the GOP primaries or caucuses for her. Can you really say that those GOP
I don't
voters,
see Nikki Haley.
those are GOP voters that may come home?
Don't see your
There are
bae.
no GOP voters.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
still
there's
getting dressed.
Kentucky.
A section of them.
I think over the summer when
She's
still getting dressed.
focusing, you're seeing the
Or
Supreme
undressed.
Court there in the shot.
No, she was already undressed. Trust me, I know.
Donald Trump or it's going to be Joe Biden, and the makeup of the
You
Supreme
made her
Court
late.
drives a lot of people
Yeah.
to who they're going to actually.
Did you ever
vote
on-
for. I
did
thought
you ever
Donald
on
Trump did a
cam?
very good job of
You
announcing
Sometimes.
can't with her.
and look at the people he did put on the court, and that was a huge selling point for
Well, you
President
see
Trump.
a couple of them right there, Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, who are in that shot. And I would note, because I love covering the Supreme Court, this is a jam-packed term. Not only do they have issues dealing
the
with
Joint
President
Chief,
Trump,
man.
and that may impact some of the legal cases involving him, his run, his
I think he's
campaign,
dead.
but they're also, John, going to have decisions on abortion, on guns. And when those things happen and they're thrown back into the campaign cycle, those are really big issues that could cut either way. It could
Pentagon
be a plus
boys.
or minus for Dems or Republicans based on what the
Little
court
Nancy
does
over there.
and how fired up the reaction is to the Supreme Court decisions.
She was a smoker back in the
But I
day, though.
mean, back to the Haley point for just 1 second. I do think that the results and how strong Nikki Haley was in some of these states is very relevant for the general election. Obviously, these issues you're referencing are going to energize the base, but we have to remember this election is going to be fought in a very small number of states. And to your point about third-party candidates, they make a difference.
God damn,
What
man.
also
How long
makes
is he
a
going to
difference
fucking
is the fact
cavort
that
with
there's
the
a lot of
freaking crowd?
Republicans who do not want to support.
They always do.
President
It's
Trump.
annoying
Some
as
of
hell.
President Biden's polling challenges right now are some Democrats that are
Where's Rachel
dissatisfied
Levine
with
at?
him. You touched on some of these points earlier. Will the White House be able to get all those Democrats home by the election? I don't think there's any question they will, because the one thing that Donald Trump does do is turn out Democrats.
He really does. I mean, he
Totally.
motivates
So
both
these
sides.
people who are upset that we didn't, write off enough student debt, or the people who are upset about President Biden's policy in terms of standing up for Israel,
They're not going to vote for President
they're
Trump.
going to come
That
home
Warnock?
right
Yeah,
now
that's
in the
Warnock
polls.
back there. That we
No.
just
Do they
talking
stay
to.
home? Do they lose that bit
Don't
of
trip,
enthusiasm?
dude.
Again, you're hearing the speaker, Mike
You
Johnson,
know how
again,
you
the
do with
third
stairs.
speaker in the last 3 years of one of these State of the Unions, gaveling as President Biden gets there, gives a copy of his speech we remember 3 years ago. Speaker Pelosi famously
There's
tore
fucking
up the
Kamala
speech
Heels.
that President Trump had given
There's heels
her.
up Harris, baby. There's your other
Moving on
bae.
to the vice president who was there in her role as the
Oh,
president
yeah, there we
of
go.
the Senate. She's actually been called in a number of times
Heels
this
up
year
Harris.
to vote on tie-breaking issues because of just how tight things have been in the Senate. But let's listen in as the president gets started. Once the applause for him begins to subside, he's got a lot to live up to tonight, not only in substance, but in form. I think for a lot of people, they're just going to be watching to see what his energy level is, how he articulates the policies and the
Grandma.
fight ahead. And we will listen in as hundreds, thousands, actually more than 1,000 people are packed into that chamber. Members,
You just can't. Well, you can't
yes, they
see.
have
Oh, I can't see all the way over there.
Many of them are people that are dealing with issues of law enforcement, the border, parents who've lost kids to fentanyl. A lot of represented stories, very important there as we listen in tonight.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, go home. Go home. The teeth are going to fall out.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans, in January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people.
Oh, he's gonna bring Putin into this shit.
This was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I've come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today.
Yeah, by you.
What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack at both
Our
at
nation
home
is under attack
and
because you
overseas
locked the border down, but
at the very same time.
And they keep saying our democracy's under attack, but we don't have a fucking
Russia is
democracy.
on the march,
the republic.
invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I
There it
assure
is.
you he will not.
Yep.
There it is. There it is.
But Ukraine,
Sit down, heels up.
Ukraine can stop
You ain't going nowhere.
You sit down, knee pads.
Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons. that need
Sit
to
back
defend
down, knee
itself.
pads.
You need good war. Because war's the answer.
That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers in the war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Now, my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
Of course, knee pads is going to stand up.
America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace.
Right.
And today,
Except for,
we've made NATO stronger than ever. Welcome.
You mean bigger than ever?
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, bigger than
by encroaching right up to the Russian border instead of having the buffer.
Oh, and remember, Russia wanted to join NATO, but Bill Clinton said no.
We are imperial. We're imperial. We're going to rule the world.
And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime
What a
Minister,
fucking
welcome to NATO, the
embarrassment.
strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History
What national
is
security?
watching. History is watching. The United
How
States walks
does
away,
Russia
it will put Ukraine
come
at
into
risk.
play for national security?
Europe is at
Exactly.
risk. The free
It
world is at
doesn't.
risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us
Because they're
harm.
doing the
My message
the
to President
dominoes
Putin, who
will
I've known for a
fall.
long time, is simple.
We should really rename
will not
Texas
walk
to
away.
Ukraine, so maybe he'll actually give a shit then.
Dude, might as well just freaking.
We will not
Might as well
bow
just give them
down.
all launch codes and fucking do it, dude.
I will not bow down.
No, you'll fall
Sure you
down
will.
though.
In a literal sense,
Look at that dude on his phone.
history
He's
is
like, yeah, fuck
watching.
this shit.
History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th.
The
when
iPhone insurrection.
stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy.
They didn't have any
We're
knives.
here
You
in
dumb
the
fuck.
darkest of days. We all
They didn't even have
saw
guns.
with our own eyes. The insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
And they were not armed either.
People.
They were protests. They were airing their grievance, which is the
about
First
the
Amendment.
2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy.
We have now
since the
become
Civil
Britain.
War. But they failed. America stood.
Your court stands up again.
She was high as hell.
America stood strong.
Look at that. She's all people.
Democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth.
Every time you fucking lied,
can't
your
love
whole
country
political
only
career,
when you win.
your political career was built on lies, dude.
He started
Exactly.
politics when FDR was president.
One thing is too, he's like, I'm gonna air out all the truth and not the lies. Oh, you mean like all the hours of footage that have already came out and proved that the national the narrative was a lie?
I ask all of you, without regard to party, to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions.
How about uphold the
And make clear
Constitution?
Political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place.
Why wasn't he saying that when Antifa was running rampant? I got video of Antifa here in my small town.
Or what about when illegals are
It's not
killing
hyperbole
innocent people?
to suggest
Yeah, you want to talk about a
history
national
is
security
watching.
bill? Russia ain't
Yeah.
doing that
They're
shit.
watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is
Sure,
Latoya
you are.
Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
Keep the states right.
Stand up for families by allowing Roe versus Wade that literally
for families
eliminates
for
a
abortion.
family.
There you go. We stand up for killing babies.
Wait,
There we
this
go.
says an IVF patient, an IVF
Yeah,
in vitro
in vi-
fertilization patient, but we
Yeah.
need Roe versus Wade. Why? She's volunteering to get pregnant. What does she need an abortion
Thank
for?
Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader defending reproductive freedom.
Oh, incredible leader. Now Harris. Oh, Jesus.
Reproductive freedom. Oh, okay.
He's done nothing.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted.
What chaos?
Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus with a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future
There's
were
one.
at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed.
And that's what she needed.
What her
to
family
leave the
got to
state.
should have never happened as well.
Bullshit.
But it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need.
They put a time limit on that shit. If you get raped and it takes you fucking 12 weeks to decide, hey, I want to have an abortion now. It's like, hold on a second. Maybe you should have got a rape test and a pregnancy test immediately. How about that?
Thank you.
It's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about it.
Yeah, and the justices said, hey, this is not a federal fucking thing.
Yeah. Not a federal thing. Read your Constitution, idiot.
Yeah.
Clearly, those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Huh. Matters on the campaign. That matters to the campaign. It's a campaign speech. There's my bag right there.
They're gonna push women shit. Trump's gonna be smart if he gets a women vice president. If he doesn't, he's dumb. Because they're gonna push all the women shit right now.
I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
How? How can you restore a court decision as the law of the land when it was never a law? It was just a court decision that everybody used as precedent.
Not go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century.
You made it worse.
Remember the fear, record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus.
Because you sat and watched.
More than 1 million American lives of loved ones.
Remember all the unemployment that you forced on people if they didn't get a vaccine?
Yep.
A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic
Talk about the right to choose
duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care.
Hey, he just said something. He said the truth. Trump did fail during the pandemic. That is correct.
Determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation.
First truth today.
This is our right to choose.
It doesn't make new, but in
so did he.
In 1,000 cities and towns,
yeah, exactly.
So
they
the
both
American
did.
People are writing the greatest comeback story never
both
told.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing that he said that was true. Trump failed during the pandemic. Yeah, exactly. That's why we call him the fucking lockdown president.
Tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. We leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does.
And that's where mRNA technology always wanted to be, though, is in the cancer portion.
And they still haven't developed a vaccine to take care of coronaviruses.
Yeah, I know, but what he just said right there about how the COVID vaccine is now helping us against cancer, that's going to be their next thing. That's going to be their next thing. We got to stop the cancer pandemic. Everybody has to have this vaccine that'll prevent cancer.
And that
because everybody's going to be on socialized healthcare, and you won't get treated for your cancer if you don't have the cancer vaccine.
And that's how I Am Legend starts.
Mm-hmm.
With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting.
That's it? There's 330 million people in the fucking country, you dumbass. That's like one hiring day.
More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world.
No, it was at 18% a year ago. You guys even admitted that shit finally just recently. It was never at 9%.
Drop all those numbers that really mean anything.
She's going to keep standing up because she wants that job.
Oh, yeah.
We're exporting American products.
Look at that face. She's like, yeah, the power.
She's like, yep. She's in love with power.
She's gonna die, old man. Die, old man.
She's thinking war.
She probably runs everything. They just fucking tell him to sign shit.
Consumer studies show consumer
just like Dick Cheney did.
Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including
and yours,
Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore.
Obama, Biden, Clinton, both Bushes. Yeah, how far you want to go back?
Made with American products and built by American workers.
The minimum wage is $20 an hour.
No, that's too low. You got $50 an hour. That's what they want now in California, man. Come on.
And the products, and then a Big Mac is going to be $300.
The United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having
but the regulations pushed them out.
Private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new
because
chips.
Wasn't the CHIPS Act under Trump though?
Creating tens of thousands of jobs.
Some of it was, but because of all the
timing.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the fact that he put those. I can't even think what it is, but he kept trying to go into a war with China.
Sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing,
but
tens of thousands
yeah,
of
the
jobs
CHIPS Act. It
here
looks like
in
it started
America.
2021.
I'm a little impressed by his longevity here, man.
Yeah, but
he's slipping.
Yeah, he's going to, but
46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against
government regulation is going to be has been pushing jobs overseas. So that's why they're not good here anymore.
Well, and then the standard of living and stuff like that going up and stuff like that makes things cost more, and so then they got to make it cheaper in order for people to buy it. I mean, that's the standard capitalism, though.
Modernize our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risking.
You mean except for the fact that the Flint problem that started that came to light under your administration when you were vice president still hasn't been fixed? Never got fixed during the 8 years you were in? Okay. Or the 4 years you've been in?
16
what
years.
have you been doing for 4 years? What have you been doing for 4 years? You could have fixed Flint already.
Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in family farms.
Who? Bill Gates' family farm? Were they buying all of the farmland?
Led by my Secretary of Agriculture knows more about this than anybody I know. We're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave.
He's starting to lose it.
Leave home to make a living. It's transformative.
It's what?
A great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois. Home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Factory shutting down, auto factories reopening, a new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
The battery shit was done under the Obama Biden campaign, not under yours.
Automakers are trying not to make. They're going away from cars, dude.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to sell cars anymore. They just want to rent them.
Your community is moving forward.
I don't know if he's lagging or if it's your internet.
1,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America. tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sims, a third generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line. And today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class.
Fucking
Unions are destroying the middle class, though. That's the problem. They built the middle class, and now they're killing it.
When America gets knocked down,
They had their time, and they didn't want to let go of their power, just like the government doesn't want to let go of any of their power.
Once you let the line out of the cage, it's hard to put it back in.
Yeah.
That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
I think it's getting weaker.
Yeah. Our influence across the world is getting weaker because we keep meddling in bullshit.
Yep.
And then we show how weak we are whenever we lose every time.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States.
And why? Because you have no state tax and because you have no regulations in that state. That's why.
In a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much.
How would he understand what corporations do? He's been in government his whole entire life.
Yeah, but he was like, oh, the state farm I'm from has more corporations than everybody combined. It's like, yeah, why do they all fucking have their headquarters there? To escape taxes.
Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong.
Because of government interaction.
Was a law that I proposed and signed. Not one of your Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes,
you funded Big Pharma.
To make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit.
I don't know what you
subsidizing
them. He signed away what Trump did. He signed away what Trump did, and then freaking copied the same thing over.
I don't know you about hardcore, but I think I'd rather be masturbating with a cheese grater right now.
Yeah.
People have talked about it, but finally we got it done.
That's what I call Kamala, though, cheese grater.
Just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money. It's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion.
Bernie, what's looking at?
How'd you cut the deficit by $100 billion? You just spent $100 billion.
This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices.
Someone's going to turn that Bernie thing into a meme again, with him being pissed off.
Yeah.
It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade.
Okay, that's all good and dandy, but the thing is that Medicaid negotiates it down, and then the federal government comes in and subsidizes the fucking the losses of the pharma company, so the pharma company still makes the same amount of money. It just looks nice on paper because the end user pays less. Just like our gas price should be $15 a gallon, but they subsidize so much of the fucking oil and gas to keep that shit low.
Even for expensive cancer
Who
drugs, it costs $10,000,
subsidizes
$12,000, $15,000. I want to cap prescription drug costs of $2,000 a year for everyone.
How? What if somebody's sicker than somebody else? How exactly do you do that shit?
I'm going to get in trouble for
It's
saying
called
that
empty
today.
promises and
Air Force
buying
One fly
votes.
to
Oh, yeah.
Toronto, Berlin, Moscow. Excuse me. And well, in Moscow, probably. Bring your prescription with you, and I promise you, I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act.
How?
The old Obamacare.
Should have been
Still a very big
repealed.
deal.
Yeah, it was only like repealed in name. That's it.
What they should have done is left it up to the states.
Yeah.
If states want to offer something, let them.
Million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition.
That was probably the only thing that came good of
Many in
the
this chamber want to take this
ACA.
prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, except for the fact that up until the PACT Act, which just got passed like a year ago, veterans had to pay for their VA healthcare unless they were 100% disabled.
In fact,
That's messed up.
Hey, nobody got denied for a pre-existing condition unless your pre-existing condition was that you were a veteran, and then if you didn't have the money to pay for it, if you weren't fully disabled, then you go fuck yourself.
Expires next year.
Yeah.
Here's a 22. Go out in the parking lot.
She's just like, yeah, I want that power.
I guarantee she has it, dude. And there's no way he's actually doing shit. She's probably in all the meetings.
Has always been underfunded. That's why we're
And her
launching the
cackling.
first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
Yeah, but she's not even that kind of a doctor. She's a doctor in like English lit or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, she's leading the research of women's health. It's like, she's a fucking English major. What the fuck are you talking about? What's she doing?
The babysitter.
Doctor isn't doctor. Come on. You can be a doctor in mathematics. It doesn't mean you can do brain surgery.
I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well. And the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
Sweet, so that will cause inflation to skyrocket even more.
Yeah, and it's only $400 a year for 2 years. That's nothing.
I need some more.
What I'm saying, like $400 a year for 2 years, that's nothing. And considering that the interest rate is double what it was 2 years ago.
It's only gonna, I mean,
$1,000 or more as a consequence.
most people are just stupid. They're gonna go for it and say that, yeah, rah, we gotta do this, and not realize it's gonna cause inflation to skyrocket again.
Driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7
The red tape the
million
government
new
caused.
housing
Yeah.
units nationwide.
We're cutting red tape that we caused.
Yeah, except for the fact that Trump deleted more executive orders than most people fucking sign in their 8 years.
And renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, he's got to sign executive orders because his Congress won't fucking pass anything.
Yeah, well, there's that.
And he's got the majority of the Congress.
To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world.
Then get rid of the Department of Education.
And I, like I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know,
We already have the Head Start program.
Free.
We already
You
have
get
Head
everything
Start.
for free. Everything that you need, we're going to give you for free.
We
Nobody
already
has
have
to
Head
work for
Start.
anything.
That's
You just rely on us.
What the hell, Bruce?
Great.
You broke it.
year, that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show The children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
We already have Head Start Universal. That shit, all the states take care of that shit. He's trying to sell somebody something they already own.
Leaders of the Business Roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
And then be like, look, I got it for you. It's like, wait, we already had it years ago.
Why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most. The CEOs.
He's freestyling.
And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I look.
You want a more freaking.
I say somewhere. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
Well, if schools would stop failing kids forward, they would.
Yeah, does every president have the same fucking speech?
Yeah.
I'm also connecting local.
Does every president have the same fucking speech?
So students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs.
Now you just increased the price of college. Again.
Yes. You wipe out the student debt, increases the price of college, and you want people to go to.
Well, and they're increasing the Pell Grant, which gives people more money available to spend. So then, when colleges jack up their prices, people have the money to pay it.
4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service.
Except for the ones who refuse the vaccine, fuck them.
Yep.
Who's here with us tonight? Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college.
Yeah. Debt forgiveness.
And folks, look.
Let's reward bad habits.
Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home.
The debt forgiveness where they gave it to like teachers, that makes sense because they don't pay teachers dick. You might as well take their fucking college education, bill away.
Yeah, but they did it for the little fucking underwater basket weavers too.
Well, there's that too. Shit, I haven't got mine fucking deleted yet.
And masters of gender studies.
The first couple of years we cut the deficit. Now let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion.
Oh yeah, and we're spending $1 trillion every 100 days.
The bipartisan deal.
What, over $1 trillion over the next 20 years? You cut the deficit or something? What, like?
It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
That's not cutting the deficit. The deficit is how much you take in versus how much you spend. So if he's going to cut the deficit by $3 trillion, which means he's going to increase taxes by $3 trillion.
That's great.
Dude, the lemmings don't know that. The lemmings don't know that.
A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country.
We can pretty much summarize this entire State of the Union by.
You want a fair tax code? Flat tax, 20%, no deductions. Okay, fine, that's fair.
We can summarize the whole entire State of the Union by saying, "Old man yells at cloud."
Exploded the federal deficit.
Old man yells at cloud.
They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody
Then why are most people in government millionaires?
Penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny.
Then why did I just get hosed for taking my money out of the fucking 401k?
Because you make over $400,000 a year, Bruce.
No, I don't.
Exactly. They just fuck you anyway, and they just hide it under something else.
Millions of working families and cut
I saw something on Twitter that all politicians be paid zero, and I believe that.
Yeah, they already make way more than they get paid anyway.
Yep. They get paid zero, and all that should go towards.
Trump took zero.
Corporations are very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
No, he had to take $1, I think, because he tried to take zero, and they made him take $1 or something like that, or they made him. Like, he just donated his fucking paycheck to like an organization or whatever, like a
government organization.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Thanks to
they should get paid zero. They should get no benefits, and their
but that's still less than working people
yearly
pay
pay
federal
after they
taxes.
get out of government
It's
should
time
be
to raise
zero
corporate
also.
minimum tax to at least 21%.
Yeah, drive the business right out of fucking America, dude. Drive all the businesses out of America. Tax the shit out of them so they leave.
Just like Venezuela did.
Yeah, it's like California. Yeah, exactly.
Massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million. It could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America.
Good.
You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%.
Yeah, it's because they don't actually get income.
That's because the tax
they don't pay
code,
income tax because they don't have an
because
income.
They made the tax
they have
code.
assets.
You made the tax code. Everybody made the tax code. That's why they used the tax code.
Yeah, just exactly what Trump said in 2016. He's like, "What? Yeah, I just used the tax code that's there, and that's how I don't pay all these taxes."
That you guys passed.
Yeah.
Tax for billionaires at 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years.
It would raise $0 because billionaires don't have income.
You are spending $1 trillion every 100 days.
Yeah.
They need to go to work to help grow the economy.
They don't have any. That is true.
Because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine.
God, you guys are fucking lemmings. Every one of you guys in there are fucking lemmings.
People living with disabilities, so they can stay in their homes and families.
They're just clapping because it's their party.
Get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends.
Stop the income tax for seniors. All income taxes for all seniors over 65.
If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you.
They weren't too happy.
Cut the
Yeah,
Social
he's like, really
Security
cool, man.
on all retirement funds. Cut the tax on all fucking retirement funds.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go.
Because they're not employees.
Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. I will. That's
Look
the
at Johnson in the back.
If you really cared, Joe, what you would do is say that all government employees, all elected officials get paid zero, no benefits of any kind. All that goes towards the deficit.
That's good to hear.
All of it.
I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
They already pay their fair share. Why doesn't government pay their fair share?
Yeah.
Or stop taking more than their fair share.
Dude, they fucking
If you only take in $3 trillion a year, you only spend $3 trillion a year. Why are you fucking running debt?
Cracking down on corporations engaged in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing.
Dude, if I'm a corporation, I'm going like, I'm fucking leaving.
You won't notice.
Yeah.
If they change the size of the bag,
go
I
somewhere
can get
else.
some workers in other countries that'll work.
See, now he's talking about shrinkflation. It's like, well, you don't really raise my prices, but so I gotta cut my costs. Okay.
Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it. You probably all saw that.
Look at him, he's about to cry.
Circle jerk.
Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10%
basically what it
Snickers
is.
in it.
And you know Kamala's going to eat the bread after it's all done.
Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge.
Back there flicking her bean, going like, "Hi,
We're cutting
motherfucker."
credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot, like $8 and 30 some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating.
You also just reduce the amount of lines of credit that people in the working class can get now.
That is $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front, so there are no surprises. It matters.
There would be no surprises if you were an educated person.
Let me see. Trump did that. They didn't want it in there. Oh, and then he made an executive order for it, and then you squashed it. And then you redid it.
It was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen.
Boo.
Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill?
It's not a good bill. 60 billion went to fucking Ukraine, 20 billion went to fucking Israel, and only like 12 billion went to the fucking wall.
100 more immigration judges help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
We wouldn't have that problem if you fucking closed the goddamn border, you asshole.
Or if the actual border bill went towards 100% of the border and not fucking 60 billion to Ukraine's border and 20 billion to fucking Israel's border.
Smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children.
Yeah, because you open the border and turn it into a shit show event.
It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
You mean over 5,000 a
union has
day?
endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read.
Yeah, 60 billion Ukraine, 12 billion border.
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well. A majority right now, but unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far.
Yeah, because you can just use your executive branch instead of going through Congress.
He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be.
Then do executive order then.
Not really.
He already has the authority to close the border. He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look,
yeah, your kid died of cancer, though, not an illegal alien killing them randomly.
People pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000.
And they get a free ride.
If it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks.
What about the fact that Venezuela is refusing to take back any of the people that they sent up here?
Exactly. To the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
You already have your
You already have the laws and everything in place. All you have to do is fucking enforce them. No more money needs to be spent. Close the fucking border.
See, he just wants the money to go to Ukraine and Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Ukraine. Fuck, most of it goes there. It's a Ukraine bill.
Don't call it the national security border bill. Call it the Ukraine. I have a burner for them bill.
Yeah.
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not.
No, you'll just call black people super predators.
Yeah.
Black Americans as well.
People because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers.
Idiot. That guy
and
right
so
there.
much more.
Just filling the fucking earth.
Unlike my predecessor,
They all are, man.
I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, and ancestors have been here for thousands of years.
And 98% of them are
From every
deceased.
place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come
Did he literally just say some people came over in chains to seek freedom in America?
Yeah.
Who wrote this? Is he still freestyling? He was freestyling there a couple of times.
Freestyling. He freestyled this whole thing, I think.
No, I saw him do it a couple of
We
times.
can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now.
So I can pay off my debts in Ukraine.
A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama.
Oh my God.
Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead.
Okay.
Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march.
And now you say that black people are too broke and too stupid to be able to get an ID to use that to vote, but they got to have it to get their food stamps and to get a job and to get everything else.
That's right. Listen to that, black people. He thinks they're too stupid and too dumb and broke.
Mm-hmm.
Both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma, the daughter of gospel singers and preachers. She sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
Right, that's dope.
By Republicans. By Republicans.
There's that too. Nobody ever said that wasn't a good
By
thing.
majority of Republicans.
What? Yeah. So
you're
sitting here.
They didn't even rule the Congress at that time.
Yeah. So he's sitting there. He's sitting there saying how it's great the voting rights bill was passed. Yeah, it's great. So what's not great for the black community is your 92 crime bill.
Taking us back in time. Voter suppression.
Where you put men back in chains.
Unlimited dark money. Extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis was a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk.
If you ain't black, you don't vote for me.
Pass the Freedom to Vote Act? What? Pass the Freedom to Vote Act.
He's talking about anybody in the country.
Stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history.
There's no banning books.
I want to protect fundamental
rights. You can get all those books on Amazon.
Pass the Equality Act.
We are equal.
Transgender Americans, I have your back.
For every dollar I earn, my female counterpart earns 3 quarters, 2 nickels, and or 2 dimes and a nickel.
Raise the federal minimum wage.
sucks.
Because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it.
Oh,
I don't think
Jesus.
any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't.
I can't wait to listen to Aaron's
Significant
podcast
action
on this
ever on
one.
climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon
It's going to
emissions in
be
half by
colorful.
2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
Okay, what's that being powered on?
30% of America's
Coal.
lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
Doing what? Yeah, exactly. What will they be doing in the Climate Corps, though? Going into museums and gluing themselves to paintings?
State the obvious.
Probably.
Or are they going to be actually out here? You know what I want to see the Climate Corps do? I want to see them be out here on the roads picking up trash instead of just the people out on work release.
Office murder rate went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then.
Who was yelling?
Through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years.
Because you stop prosecuting crimes.
We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking.
Retail crime? Cracking down on retail crime. Yeah, you mean by like not enforcing it if it's less than $1,000?
Yeah, if you don't enforce it, then crime goes down. Exactly.
That is
if you don't enforce the laws, then crime goes down.
Of marijuana, expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record.
Yeah, so decriminalize it. Executive order criminalized it. You can decriminalize it with an executive order.
Put your money where your mouth is and deschedule it.
I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator. So we can finally end the scourge against women in America.
Dude, I would love if he glitched out and said, the 92 crime bill, we need to reinforce that.
Jasmine, whose 9-year-old
That'd be funny.
sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it.
Meanwhile, the chicken shit fucking police officers that didn't go in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president.
He did.
Yeah, exactly. He did.
After another shooting in Iowa,
he did the bump stock shit. He did some other things.
Just get over it.
Yep.
There's his quote.
Obama did less than Trump did.
Yeah.
I say, stop it. Stop
Stop
it,
what?
stop it, stop it.
Stop what? Stop people from killing other people? We already have laws in the books for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years.
The NRA sucks.
We
Yeah.
now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Don't we already have that?
Dude, that is not going to pass the Supreme Court. They've already fucking struck it down. I don't know how many fucking times.
I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second
No,
Amendment.
you didn't. Your whole
vilified
college,
responsible
this
gun
shit
owners.
is a fucking sham.
You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last
No,
5
you're
months
creating
have been
crisis in the
gut-wrenching
Middle
for
East.
so many
Yeah.
people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian
You
people,
single-handedly created
so
a
many here in
crisis in the Middle
America.
East.
Yeah.
This crisis began on October 7th with a
No,
massacre
it didn't.
terrorist group called
It
Hamas.
started in like the fucking 40s.
1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence.
And
The
how many
deadliest
people have
day
been
for the Jewish
evaporated and
people
killed
since the
since?
Holocaust.
So we're gonna let Israel just go in there and just massacre fucking innocent fucking people instead of the fucking
And
people that did it.
the blowback from this Gaza shit is gonna be worse than October 7th.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh fuck!
We also
It's gonna get fucking outrageous over there.
No, sit down, Franklin. You're fucking embarrassment, dude.
The more that they keep moving down Gaza, it's like the wick on a fucking bomb burning down. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's going to explode, actually.
Yeah, once they touch Egypt,
being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has a right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms.
The innocent people of Gaza had nothing to fucking do with it.
Yeah.
You're killing the innocent people of fucking Gaza, dude.
But Israel has Israel has a added
Dick in your throat.
because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like.
yeah. So
Israel also
just
has a
destroy them
fundamental
all.
responsibility, though.
Yeah, just destroy them all with people in
innocent
it.
civilians in Gaza.
You killed more civilians in fucking Gaza. They killed more civilians in Gaza that died in Israel.
Yep.
By scores more.
Yeah, October 7th happens every day in Gaza.
Wars in Gaza combined, more than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement.
Yeah.
Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin.
So tell Israel stop.
Food, water, medicine. It's
Stop putting money in their pocket.
I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released. To get
Tell
the
Israel to
hostages
stop.
home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
That's going to be a shit show. You put a pier up there, all those people are going to run onto that fucking boat.
And Israel must do its part.
You mean like mow down 100 and something people who are trying to get food off a truck?
Humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. They're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. To the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. Stop sending bombs.
Is a two-state solution over time.
Exactly.
There is no two-state solution, dude.
No, half of Gaza has been fucking leveled.
And I say this.
You think they're going to be cool with that?
As a lifelong supporter of Israel, my entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here.
Okay, Trump.
I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees that Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. There's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel.
And why did the Houthis start attacking ships? Is because of Israel doing the shit in Gaza. It keeps trickling. They don't fucking understand. That's trickle-down economics.
For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America's falling behind.
Yeah.
They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China.
Every time he tried to do anything, you say he was racist.
And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. There's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't.
Oh, you mean like whenever I fucking apply for healthcare from the VA and I get this book that tells me about all the different programs from the VA, but it doesn't come with a thing saying what program I fucking qualify for?
Dennis, the VA.
Right.
I signed the PACT Act.
Yeah. And when I fill that out, this is what I get. This is what you get right here. Here, where am I? This is what you get. You get this health benefits handbook when you fill out the PACT Act, and it tells of the different kinds of fucking benefits, all the benefits for people from World War II, everything. And it tells about all the different programs. That's it.
Remind us that we can do big things, like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
The stupidest woman in Congress right there. Maxine Waters.
They're going to cause so much problems trying to use this mRNA technology for fucking cancer shit.
Yeah. I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
Good Lindsey Graham.
When you get to be more
piece of
certain
shit.
things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor.
He's just smiling there. I love these
the American
wars.
story of resentment, revenge, and retribution. That's not me. I was
Yes, it
born in
is.
World War II.
Look what they're doing to
America's
Trump.
spirit
That's not
of war.
retribution.
I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Claremont, Delaware, among working class people who built this
They don't
country.
look at it that way.
No,
I
you
watched
didn't
the
grow up
war
among them. Your
as
family was
two of
always
my
wealthy.
heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
So once MLK assassination made you want to get into public service so you could put out the 92 crime bill and lock up all the people he was trying to free. Okay.
I became a county councilman almost by accident.
That sums it
I
up.
got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
She's not black. She's Indian.
Well, that's why he just said woman.
She's not black.
The only way she gets away with that black is because like her family immigrated from India to Jamaica. Her dad became a Jamaican citizen, so now he's a Jamaican.
In my career,
She's not black. Ask Willie Brown.
I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke.
What?
And I've been told I'm too old.
You are.
Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal, deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
Where's your husband?
The issue facing our nation isn't how old we
He's
are.
putting in those
It's how
after hours
ideas.
trade for all the shit that he just
Anger,
announced.
retribution are the oldest of ideas.
Yeah.
But you can't lead
Take it in
America
his butt.
with ancient ideas. Only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away.
I agree. I want the freedom to kill too, because some of these motherfuckers that cut me off in traffic, I want to abort them.
Finally has a fair shot.
Yep.
And the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes.
Very late term abortion.
I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all,
Government kills more than any civilian does.
I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, yeah, he can protect them very easy if you stop sending them places.
Exactly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just attended the reaction by the weather report to the mumble of the Union speech. Jesus fucking Christ. It's the same old bullshit. See, that's the thing, though, is like I don't like watching that shit because, you know, like the motto. Yeah, exactly.
It's the same speech.
The
It's
motto.
same speech.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They say the same thing all the time. I mean, we can probably pull up Obama's fucking any of his State of Unions. It'd be the same shit.
Pull up Trump. Pull up freaking Clinton. Pull up Bush's.
Anybody.
Any
Yeah,
of
that's why we say, you know, just don't play the game if you want to win and shit like that or whatever. It's like
yeah, and so the only winning hand is not to play the game. And you know, the whole thing is that, you know, it's the same. This was even worse. I mean, if you ask me, it sounded more like a fucking campaign speech than a State of the Union.
Every election year, State of the Union is a campaign speech. Let's go look at Trump.
Oh,
It
dude,
the same
it
thing.
was terrible. It was a terrible speech. It was a terrible speech.
But I think there's a lot of telling things in there, like we had pointed out. You know, is that they're going to be pushing the women stuff hardcore because of the overturning of Roe versus Wade. They're going to
That's all we've
use
got
that
left.
because that's what they got. But see, the thing is that they feel like it's been galvanized more and more because they've been putting in everything into place over the last 12 years or more with, integrating more and more and more and more into not just, allowing women to do what the fuck they want, because obviously they should be able to do what the fuck they want, but it's about pushing this like, oh, it's the first woman in this, first woman in that. It's like, okay, but Betsy DeVos was the first woman as the Secretary of Education or whatever, and people were like, "Fuck that bitch." It's like, no, hey, let her be the first woman. And didn't Trump have the first woman press secretary?
Yeah,
and everybody's like, "Yo, fuck that bitch." It's like, hold on, no, she's the first. Let them be the first. Yeah, let's praise them. How about that? No, fuck that bitch. Oh, okay.
No, the problem is that the only qualification now is to be a woman. That's the only that's what it is. It's not the best. It's not the most who's the most qualified. It's got to be a woman. It's got to be
and they got to toe the
line. Got to be a person of color.
And they got to toe the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to toe the line too, because if they're a person of color and they disagree with the narrative of the establishment, well, then it's fuck that motherfucker. Oh, they're a race traitor. Oh, they're whatever. They sold out.
Exactly,
everything like that. Yeah.
Depending on what side of the aisle that you that you fly on. So there's no black Republican woman in in the conservative party that's ever going to be accepted as a successful cabinet member or executive. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, because they're always going to, black man, black woman, doesn't matter. They're not going to be respected because of the fact that they are conservative, and that's fine. That's it.
Yeah, same with Herman Cain.
Everybody knows it's the truth. And that's just the way it is. They're going to be called a whitewash. They're going to be called every name under the bus, man. And if it's a Democrat woman, a woman on the right, then it's all fair. Everything's all fair. So
it's
so
a double standard.
It's so lopsided. It's fucking crazy, dude. And just so many. When I sat there and listened to that speech. Number one, I was surprised how far he got in the speech. I was to tell you the truth, I was impressed. That
he had a cut. I pointed that one out when he was like,
yeah. He had a couple, but I thought he was going to have a meltdown 15 minutes into it. To tell you the truth,
I thought it was crazy how they let him freestyle like that, and he didn't fuck up hardcore when he was freestyling. He was like, "Oh, what? You don't think so? Oh, look, it's like."
But the content of his speech was no different than any other president has ever said. There was zero content that was ever different in any of it. I mean, even with Trump and the gun issues and stuff like that, he said the same fucking things. He said the same things about corporate America. He said the same thing about taxes. He said the same thing about all this stuff.
So drug prices for Medicare and shit. Yeah.
It's like the Who, the Who song, here comes the new boss, same as the old boss. It just doesn't fucking matter, dude. And
no, it doesn't. It's always the same. But then they come out with shit like this just to have people fucking bicker and argue about it and stuff. It's like, it's like, what? You don't want women to have the right to choose? It's like, yeah, you have the right to choose whether or not you want to have sex. We're not going. There's not rape gangs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and sex has consequences, like that's just how it goes. Like, if you don't want to have kids, there's multiple different ways you can not have kids.
We've made it so fucking available.
Yeah. Fucking 13-year-old girls can get on birth control now. You can tell me that women don't have the right to choose? Like, they're choosing at 13 before they're even a woman. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And most of the time, people are putting their kids on that just because they're like, hey, look, I don't want them to accidentally get pregnant because they want to go out and be stupid. And it's like, okay, so you just allowed them, hey, go ahead and go be stupid. There's no consequences for it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, teenage pregnancy is a horrible thing. I fucking knew a couple when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? It fucked up a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? But like, but now you're sitting here just telling people, like, you're reinforcing that there's no consequences to this shit. Yeah. And so like you can't have it. There's got to be that happy medium. You got to teach people there's consequences for your actions, but at the same time, you got to, it walks a fine line, having people have the availability to have different types of birth control, and then also just awareness and stuff like that. This is what happens when you do this. and then that reinforces them to make smarter decisions.
They're more in tune to want to freaking teach you how to fucking give blowjobs and take it in the ass.
Well, you can't
fucking
get
anything
pregnant
else.
with those, so I mean,
I'm just saying that's what they're
Yeah.
concentrating on. Yeah,
well, and
that's
see
what
the
they do.
and see the thing is that like my kids are sophomores in high school, and in health class they're fucking talking about sex ed shit as sophomores in high school. Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But
Yeah,
in
exactly.
third grade, no,
No,
that doesn't make
no.
any fucking
No,
sense.
that doesn't make any sense.
Fifth
Not even
grade
in
still
middle
doesn't
school.
make sense.
Not even in middle school does it make sense.
Middle school, to
Maybe-
an extent, to a little bit, because I remember I was in sixth grade. There was people already fucking in my sixth grade class.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean,
stuff like
but
that.
I mean,
So like,
when I went to
you gotta have
school,
something there, but yeah,
when I
not
went to
third
school, there was
grade.
a hanky panky. But I mean, I remember sex ed starting when my freshman year, when I was 14. That's when
I feel like I remember it in either sixth or seventh grade.
Yeah,
and
I
it
don't
was
remember.
just like
I remember anatomy.
basic
We were
stuff.
doing
Yeah.
anatomy. Yeah, and we were all giggling about
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you got that. You got the puberty one, like in fourth or fifth grade or whatever. You
Right.
got the puberty one, and then you got
Right.
like we had sex. We had health class. There was sex ed basically, but it wasn't like this is how you give good head. It was like no, sex creates kids, and this is what happens when you have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like that was what it was.
Yeah,
And watch out for
first of
STDs. That's what it
I
was.
don't think that there was a whole lot of guys in junior high and in the early years of high school that were very sexually active, and the girls that were sexually active that were in later junior high, like 13 and 14-year-olds, they were going with guys much older.
Yeah, well,
much
there's
older.
that too.
I mean, that's what was happening.
Well, yeah,
And,
I mean,
and
there's
I'm not saying
the
that, and I'm not
developmental
saying that you
stuff.
didn't have the same age couples doing it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The kids that were on the outs or whatever, severely in love, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But that was the way it was when I was in school.
Yeah.
And then of course you had those once you got into high school, then you had your couples that got together, and there was unfortunate pregnancy here and unfortunate pregnancy there, and stuff
crazy
like
shit.
that. And there is a rape culture, dude.
All that stuff happens. But see, that's the thing though too, is that like our society is so much different than it ever used to be. Bruce, you're like 1,000 years old, so you remember back in the day when you had to get married when you were 13.
Well, yeah,
because you were out on the farm. You know what I'm saying?
We use rabbit fur as condoms. I remember that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but you didn't, like, they made you not wear those rabbit fur condoms because you needed to have more kids at 13 to repopulate the farm. And so, but now, kids are 25 years old and they still haven't mentally fucking graduated to becoming an adult yet.
Yeah,
like that's how far we've developed towards lack of maturity in people. And like 13-year-olds, you're still a little fucking kid, but by 16 to 18, you should be an adult. But because like I'm sitting here fucking in a college town, I see some of these fucking college kids that are just like, yo, like you've never had a job, you never had any responsibility, you never had to do even chores at your house. I remember I hired somebody at the beginning of this last semester, at the beginning of the school year, right? Hired some dude who had never, 19 years old, right? Sophomore in college, never replaced a trash bag before.
Jesus.
What?
Never done dishes before, never replaced a trash bag before, none of that shit.
Crazy. That's crazy.
And his family is like a middle class family, about close to upper class family, because they're both his parents are teachers, but still are professors. But like really, like you still never had him do any of that shit. And what's crazy is like both of his parents were immigrants from Iran.
Yeah.
And then they raised him to be a spoiled little bitch. But what's crazy is his 16-year-old sister has been working since the day she got her fucking car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
that's
it.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
There's a mentality that gets done there, and it's unfortunate about it. But this Roe versus Wade that they were talking about, that they talked about, and this is the
law of the land. It was never a law.
This has been on the tip of it for forever. Even before Trump got into office, they were wanting to overturn it, and they want to overturn it because it should have never been a federal fucking protected right. It should always be to the states. And not only that, with that said, there's plenty of states that allow it. There's other states that don't allow it. There's states that criminalize it, and the actual answer to that all is that get out of that fucking state.
Yep.
I mean, there used to be a point in time where people would move because of the fact that the place that they lived no longer represented them. I mean, it's the same with here in California. This place is continually getting less and less politically viable for me. So I'm looking for my out because I don't agree with everything I don't agree with 90% of what's going on with here, and I'm looking for my out. So it's got to be that way. Now, if we want to switch gears to the NRA and the gun rights and shit that he's talking about, that dude, you know what? He talked about people upholding he mentioned every right to uphold except for the fucking Constitution on the oath. Every single thing he mentioned about the oath, he mentioned except for upholding the Constitution, because he has no fucking value of preserving that right. They don't want your First Amendment rights because they want to do is they want to regulate the internet and all the fucking apps and all that other shit. He wants to regulate guns and ban assault rifles. We still don't know what a fucking assault rifle is. Okay, what is an assault rifle? I can assault
that's assaulting looking.
Yeah, exactly. It's assaulting looking. I mean, there's no
Bruce,
precedent. Yeah,
an assault rifle is a rifle made out of salt.
Well, no, they always want to say military style weapons or weapons of war. Well, guess what?
They're all weapons of war.
There's yeah, exactly. They're all weapons of war. You ever heard of the M9? That's called a 9mm pistol.
Yeah.
With fucking 12 rounds or 16 rounds, somewhere in there, right? So you're gonna ban that too? Oh, you're banning the standard handgun. You know what I'm saying? The 1911. You're banning the fucking Jesus. Yeah.
The worst part of it here is that they want to put these gun laws into place that they already have, and then they want to ban these guns and things like that for people who are actually the most responsible fucking gun owners in America. We're the ones that follow the gun laws. We're the ones that
for the most part,
protect our rights for the gun laws and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's really
who gives a shit about doesn't give a shit about the law is going to give a damn about whether he can buy an assault rifle or steal one or whatever. And it's just it's affecting the law-abiding citizen more than it's affecting anybody. It doesn't cut gun crime. It doesn't cut gun violence. It doesn't cut accidental fucking shootings. It doesn't cut suicide. It doesn't cut any of those things.
Right. Chicago and other places like that banned
the law-abiding citizen. It cuts out the law-abiding citizen to exercise his protection of his family and his property.
Yeah, and Chicago and places like that banned handguns. Guess what? They still have record-setting handgun crime all the time. All the time. I mean, you listen to most drill rap, right? They're talking about they got that Glock with the switch on it, which means that they turn it into an automatic weapon. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? In Chicago, it's illegal to have a handgun. You know what I'm saying? LA, New York. Guess what? They still get it all the time. People still get hit with it. Why? And guess what? You know what the motto is in Chicago? Everybody was, we got to look out for the people of color and minorities. Okay, so you ban handguns and you make black people in Chicago have two choices: get caught with a gun or get caught without a gun.
Right.
And you get caught with a gun, you go to jail. Hey, at least you're alive. You get caught without a gun, well, you're in a bag.
Dude, they used to have that law here in California where if you used a gun, you automatically went to prison. And that is not that for some reason, that law has just gone and went away. I mean, because there's plenty of gun violence around here. And all you hear about the DA doesn't want to prosecute. So back out on the street they are. We had an innocent girl that was killed on the pier from an illegal inmate that picked up a gun and it accidentally went off. Well, it doesn't matter whether it accidentally went off. Number one, the illegal alien wasn't supposed to be here, and he had no fucking right to pick up that fucking gun, whether he shot it on purpose or not. The guy fucking walked.
Yeah, I mean, you should at least get, what I can't remember the name of it, but the unintentional manslaughter charge.
He walked on it.
Yeah,
he walked on it, and it was terrible.
If that was you that did that, you'd be going to jail for life.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, no, he's a POC, so he'll be fine.
No, I'm not considered a POC.
But no, what I thought was interesting, he did say it's something about protecting our children on the internet. Well, you know what that's going to be, right? An internet ID.
Well, yeah,
An
exactly.
internet ID where
they want you to register everything, your IP, your everything. They want to be able to know. It's just another part of the Patriot Act that they're trying to put in, which is the worst thing that they ever did. Anytime we have a fucking Black Swan event, they're sending out more security out there, and more people are giving up their liberty and their freedom because they want to be safe. And well, they don't want to be responsible for their own safety. And that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the key right there. They don't want to be safe. They still want to have responsibility.
And then they bitch and cry about it because they're defunding the police, which is they're probably their first line of defense. But there's no cop around to be found because they're so demoralized. They don't even give a fuck about fighting crime anymore because they start to fight the crime. They take the criminal in, and 2 hours later, he's out on the fucking streets again. So what use of it do we have for fucking cops, right?
Yeah, so but then if somebody
take that away. Then they're going to take your gun away. Then they're going to freaking have your internet ID and your IP address so that anything that we say, like we're saying on this right now, that they can monitor it. And all of a sudden you're getting a knock on the door, right?
Yeah, and your crypto's getting shut off. You can't buy food now. Everything.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
QV for Vendetta.
Exactly. V for Vendetta. Exactly. Yeah. And see, the thing is, too, is that, like, you know, they'll let people walk for fucking all these crimes and stuff like that. But if you defend yourself,
you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
You're going to jail. How dare you defend yourself? You're supposed to call the police. It's like, what the fuck? Police got a 30-minute fucking wait time. What the fuck am I going to do? I got to defend myself right now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
like here in Indiana, which is like number 3 on like the Freedom Index in the States or something like that, right?
Yep.
We have a no self-defense law where if Bruce, if you came over and we got into a fucking fight on my property, then we would both go to fucking jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? You're on my fucking property, bitch. Get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, too, is that, like, if somebody comes on my property,
they probably put in the same cell.
Yeah, probably. And then the thing is, too, if somebody comes on my property trying to assault me and my family, I technically can't shoot them until they enter my house.
Yeah, that's the same thing here in California. It's like if you shoot anybody outside your house, they already got away, and you pursued them. But see,
the thing is if you were able to shoot people as soon as they start shit, there'd be less shit getting started.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
No property line here. Your property line here, whether you have 5 acres, 100 acres, or whatever, your property line actually to defend yourself starts at the front door, and it doesn't extend past that front door.
Yeah,
that's what has a duty to treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then they take away the right to the whole First Amendment, the right to free speech and the right to protest your grievances. Like, they took that away. You cannot do that in the nation's capital that has the First Amendment now. You can't.
They just freaking they took that guy in shackles for a misdemeanor next to a guy that had a felony who was not even in shackles. And they took this guy in for a misdemeanor for doing journalism. Right. Okay. We got freedom of speech. No, I don't think so.
Exactly. We don't. And like I said, like, you can't even protest a pro-gay shit on the Capitol anymore. It's a no protest zone in the Capitol now.
Yeah.
Like, how exactly is that the land of all these freedoms that you're talking about supposedly having?
Well, they're protecting democracy. Remember that.
They're protecting. Yeah, they keep saying that they're protecting our democracy, and it's like we don't have that.
The word throughout the whole speech was we're protecting your democracy.
They've been pushing that a lot here lately too.
Yes,
they've been pushing that a lot here lately, and it's
always going to do it. And then
it's very telling on what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah,
very.
They want democracy. They don't want a republic democracy. They want a democracy. They want a straight up democracy, and that is where the most danger is going to come from. This border thing that he had going on, dude. I don't know where he was on that and what fucking kind of delusion that he was on or drugs he was on, but dude, he was totally wrong about the whole thing. That whole part of the speech was a freaking lie. I mean, I'll agree that the Republicans were actually on board with the border policy, but the problem is when they had they had the border policy in place. They had that bill in place. Okay. The problem is when the Democrats came in, they wanted to put in Ukraine, they wanted to put in Israel, they wanted to put in Taiwan, and what they did is they passed that bill without the border security being in it.
And see, the thing is that if it's the border bill, they need to have a bill specifically for the border. And if it's only $20 billion, okay, cool, whatever, right? And then if they want to have money for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, that needs to be in a separate bill for the fucking foreign policy bill. You know what I'm saying? That should be all in our foreign policy shit.
What is fucking hard? What is so fucking hard about closing the fucking border? What is that? I mean,
the thing is that he's like, Congress passed this law, so I can do something. It's like, you already control the border. You just told Abbott that he has no control over the border, that it's a federal responsibility. And you already have your agents down there letting people in. So you can't tell them, hey, don't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? And then he was talking about, the part of the bill will allow us to restrict the amount of people that can come in a day. It's like, to 5,000 people a day per crossing. Okay. Like, that's going to fucking slow anything down. How many crossings are there? Times 5,000 a day. You're still going to hit your 100,000 people a day that we're getting right now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like I said,
it's insane.
I used to be an open borders guy, man. But during this last 4 years and probably even a year into before Trump left office, it was just getting out of hand, and I had just changed my mind since then. It's just crazy.
I'm open to an extent. Like, I think that there should be a border. People come in, check in, and if, like, obviously, like, if they're like a wanted mass murderer in another country, we return them to their country, right?
Yeah,
but other than that,
taking people back.
Well, exactly. There's that too. But when people come up here and we check them in or whatever, and they come in here and they do fine. Okay, cool. You got 3-year probation. You commit any fucking crimes, you get deported. Easy, right? You want to come up here and you want to have a job and everything. Okay, cool. Come on up here, have a job, or anything like that. You got somebody that's going to help you out. You got a job already lined up? No. Okay, well, why don't you have a plan?
They are treating everybody that crosses that border as if they are American citizen once they hit this land. They are giving all the constitutional rights of an American citizen without letting them be or letting them become an American citizen. It's fucking crazy. And it doesn't matter whether you're Mexican, Venezuelan, Chinese, fucking Palestine, it doesn't matter, dude. And it's a dangerous situation. We're waiting for the Black Swan event. It's coming. And like you said,
that's what they wanted with that when he was talking about election integrity and stuff like that, and allowing people to have the freedom of election or whatever he said in there,
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
That's what they want. They want the freedom of anybody in the country to vote, because now they have asylum. They're a citizen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff. It's like, okay. Yeah. Sure.
He just let in how many people? Was it 6 million people
Something
so far?
That.
That'll sway an election, baby.
That will definitely move an election. Exactly. And that's why, that's probably one of the reasons why Abbott has been shipping everybody else to all these blue states. It's like, here, go to the blue states. That way it doesn't affect shit as much. Because Abbott, even though he's living in a blue city in a fucking red state, he still knows what's up.
Yeah. So how you doing with your economy, dude? I mean, how's the economy doing in your part? And you, Jason, how's that economy going? How's that fucking great economy that he's talking about that we have? How's that great economy that we're gonna do? What is it? What was it? $300 billion in 10 years, but he's spending $1 trillion every fucking 100 days. How do you do that math? I want to know how you do that math.
It's because they offset increase in taxes with inflation rate, and they do their funny math. Just like whenever
$1 trillion is some funny fucking math.
Yeah, no, they do. Exactly. They do Common Core math. 1 + 2 = -5. You know, they're always doing stuff like that, man. The economy here is all right. It's just like, it's finally back on its feet to where it was. Almost to where it was pre-pandemic. The pandemic had a lot of people that it put a lot of people inside and did not incentivize a lot of stuff. And, I just got started back again doing Grubhub and Uber Eats, and I had been not doing that for a little over a year. And I started doing Grubhub and Uber Eats in July of 2020, and I stopped doing it December of 22. Okay. And so that whole time period there, it was hell sometimes, because if McDonald's had one person call in, they closed the fucking lobby. Now I got to go through the fucking drive-through, and they only got 4 people working in there, and there's a line out the ass in the drive-through, and I'm just trying to pick up the $6 fucking order. And they wouldn't let us fucking, pull up to the fucking, you pull up to the mobile place or whatever, even the mobile people would you couldn't do that. Like, even if you placed a mobile order on McDonald's, you still had to go through the fucking line and check in. So you might as well not even place a mobile order. You know what I'm saying? It used to be like that. Now we don't have that issue again. Like, there's nobody's closing their lobby due to short staffing. Lobbies are open back to full hours again now. The only thing that hasn't went back to the pre-pandemic area was, like, grocery stores are not open 24 hours anymore.
Right.
Walmart. Well, the price too. Yeah, prices have went up and stuff like that, but that's standard with inflation, especially when you print $10 trillion at your asshole in 1 year.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the economy. So the economy, as much as he wants to tout that he's got a fucking strong economy, I'm not gonna argue that we don't have a strong economy, only because of the fact that he doesn't dictate what the markets do. The market dictates what the market does. And you can talk all you want about presidential policy setting the financial policy of the economy of the United States. It doesn't. The market's going to do what it's going to do. But to be able to hang your hat on himself, turning around the economy when basically it was the natural flow of what happened with the pandemic, that is actually what set the economy on its ear. And yeah, we're coming out of it, but the fact is that the damage has already been done. I mean, I live in a state here where for anybody that's in high tech, it's probably doing great and stuff like that. But anybody, and construction industries doing okay, service industries are doing relatively okay. But the actual low wage earner worker, which is making $20 an hour, still can't afford rent. For a studio apartment. For any amount. And it's just, as far as I'm concerned, the monetary policy that he's set forth, the ones that he's set forth, like I said before, he talks about debts and deficits and all that stuff. The math just doesn't work. It didn't work for Trump, didn't work for Obama, didn't work for Bush, didn't work for Clinton, and we're digging ourselves a bigger hole, and unfortunately, it's going to crash out. And for me, who has been able to position himself in a situation where I think that I'm financially comfortable. I know that there's a bunch of people that are below my age, even 10 years, maybe 15 years below my age, that aren't even there and are so fiscally fucking dumb that they don't even know how to freaking start it, because they get so hammered by the economy that they're living in. And like I said before, there used to be a time where if you couldn't afford a place in the place you lived in, you moved. You were a nomad, and that's what Jason talked about a lot, was just being a nomad. You got to go someplace where you can afford to live and afford to be prosperous on. And a lot of people have just forgotten that, and it's one of the reasons why we have the homeless population that we have here in California. Because number one, fucking weather's great. But number two, you got San Francisco, LA, and all the liberal places in between that are giving people tons of fucking money to stay. And that tide is starting to turn. We'll see what happens in that. But I just don't see a situation where it's getting any better anytime soon for anybody that's kind of living in a metropolitan area.
Yeah, the metros have gotten hit a lot harder. I live in a, it's like 350,000 population county, right? And so it's size, and yeah, the rents have went crazy. That's one thing. I'm glad that I bought my house in 2017 when I did, because my mortgage is still under $700 a month. Whereas I know, Bruce, it's okay, you're in California, but out here, whenever I bought my house, my $700 a month mortgage, I could only, like, the only thing I could afford in renting would be a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment.
Right.
So me getting a house on 1 acre
made
for
more
the same,
sense.
it made way more sense, right?
Yeah.
Because renting a house was like over $1,000 a month and shit like that. Well, now a 1 bedroom apartment starts out around $750, $800 a month for a studio.
Yeah.
Right. Which is also known as an efficiency in some areas. And so like you're paying $800 a month just for that, but you're only making, you know, a lot of people that can only afford a studio, they're only making like $1,500 a month tops, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
so
I mean,
yeah.
So the ends don't represent the means at all.
No,
So, I mean,
it doesn't. And see, the thing is too, is that, you know, you're talking about, you know, the crash coming and stuff. And I've been seeing more and more people. Most of my Facebook is people, you know, want to be artists, DJs, producers, stuff like that, right? Not high level people. They're all low level, just working people that are trying to get out of their 9 to 5 and try to actually make some shit in the way of music, right? And a lot of them keep talking about, why are all these billionaires fucking pulling their money out of stocks and cashing out their stocks. I'm like, it's because they're liquidating for the crash. You should too, you know, like you just said how like you're financially stable and most people aren't. I said, yeah, I'm not. Right. But like, I'm trying to keep my debt as low as possible and try to save like a little bit of money. So that way, when the crash does happen, I can buy, you know, when Bitcoin goes back down to 20,000, I can buy that shit and then have the option. But there are people with a lot more money. Buffett, Warren Buffett, all these billionaires. Hey, Ken's here. But speaking of billionaires, here's Ken. And so all these people are liquidating in order to be able to buy when the crash happens.
$1 billion hair.
Yeah, billion hairs. Yep, exactly. I think I'm the one with the most hair here. But my uncle is a wealth manager. Every one of y'all got at least a 5.5 head. All right, I still got a 4. See, everybody do this. Everybody do this. Exactly.
This is where my hairline is, right here.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. That's where it is.
You got the Monty Python salute going on at your hairline.
Oh yes.
But no, my uncle 2 years ago was telling me how you know, staying liquid 2 years ago is the best thing to do because the crash will be coming soon. You know, and my uncle is a wealth manager who could have stopped working a decade ago and still live just the same as he lives now, which is going on hunting trips all the time. He owns a 50-acre fucking lake, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The modest stuff. And you know, so when I see people just talking about, oh, these people are, they're doing it for a crash that's coming, you know? And he was like, oh yeah, we went from a 9% inflation rate down to 3. It's like, no, the 9% was a fictitious number because I was listening.
3 is even more fictitious than the 9.
Exactly. That too, because I was, you know, because they don't take, so on the PBD podcast, there's a dude named Tom and he's like the numbers guy. They call him BizDoc. And he broke it down. He's like, okay, PBD, you got your wife and your 3 kids, right? He's like, them adjusting the inflation and coming up with the inflation rate is like saying that, you know, your average height for your household is 5'6" because we don't count kids. You know what I'm saying? Because that's exactly what they do, because they don't count a lot of stuff. They don't count, you know, property values going up and stuff like that. They just like count like a few basic goods and say, these didn't go up.
They take those inflationary ones and they put those aside.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they get the kind of number that they want to have.
Exactly. And they only look at the numbers they want because they don't take in effect, you know, how the cost of cars almost doubled in 2 years during the pandemic, how the cost of houses, like I said, I bought my house for $89,000 in 2017, right? Mm-hmm. And according to the property tax assessment, right, from last year, which we all know property tax assessment is $20,000 to $50,000 less than what your actual property value is, right? According to property tax value assessment, last year my house is worth $150,000. You know how many dollars I put in renovations? Like more than 200. Exactly. Actually, my house actually needs about $10,000 worth of fucking improvements. Okay,
I live in California. I need about $150,000 worth of improvements.
Well, there's that too. But what I'm saying is, my property value went up. And another thing too. Okay, so I bought my house at $89,000. A year and a half later, the dude bought the house next door to me for the same price, right? And his house is a little bit smaller, right? But it's about the same price. He sold it 3 years later. This was like 2019 and 2020, somewhere in there. He sold his house. No, it was after the pandemic. So it must have been 2020-ish, 2021. He sold it for $133,000. Okay. So he made $50,000 in like 3 years. And he put some money into it too. The people across the street from me, they must have bought their house like 40 years ago or whatever. They were an older couple. They sold it
$2 a month for
exactly. Yeah, they're $2 a month for their mortgage. But I don't even think they had a mortgage. Actually, they lived there for that long. But they sold their house. Let's see here. So it's 2023. It just sold. So then 2022. So they sold in 2022. They sold their house for what was it? It was $183,000, right? In 2022, they sold their house for $183,000. The people that lived there for maybe a year. They just sold it for $250,000.
No, crazy.
I bought my house in 2017 for $89,000, and the house across the street from me just sold for I think it was technically $230,000. Okay, and they only have maybe 1,000 square feet of housed space more than me, and that's because they have a second garage in their backyard.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to we just
so yes, inflation is real.
White whoopies here, but we're going to move on to the foreign relations between when he started talking about Gaza and Israel and stuff like that. Ken, were you able to watch the State of the Union at all?
Not even 1 minute. Well, there was a moment I was on the toilet, and I put it on my phone because I couldn't reach a magazine. And
I'm surprised.
I was on YouTube watching it live, but I ended up on a stream that was the same stream because I don't know if you guys knew this, but Donald Trump was doing a play-by-play.
Oh my God!
On Truth,
we should have watched that instead of the actual Biden one.
It was so they had Biden on one side, and then what Trump was saying on the other side of the screen on a split screen like this.
We had Fox News on.
I was at a Lincoln Continental meeting, actually talking business and
oh fun. Yeah, you were at the fucking you were at the mobster meeting, weren't you?
It was a mobster meeting. It was just a bunch of
there you go.
Lincolns.
I love it. Did you get your shovel and your lime?
I'm doing that. That was the best idea. I'm like,
and rope. I should have gone to that rope. Too.
You got to have the rope too, and the bloody blanket.
Yeah, the bloody blanket, shovel, and a lime. That's what I'm definitely putting out there. It's already loaded to the teeth.
We're gonna try to wrap this up because we're just at foreign relations because this is about the last thing that he said, and he was talking a lot about Gaza and Israel and giving all this aid that they're gonna send this flotilla of American ships over to Gaza and park it right outside the north end of Gaza, which isn't very big. And they're going to the biggest and greatest amount of human aid that they can possible for them. And as much as we shouldn't even be there. I mean to me it was the worst part of the speech because I'm just not for war. I'm not for any kind of wars. I'm not for what's going on in China. I'm not for what's going on in Taiwan. I'm not what's going on for Israel. I'm not good for what's going on in Gaza. I feel bad for the people in Gaza because it's a bunch of innocent people that are dying. And
I also
now
feel bad for the people in Israel too. I feel bad for all of those people.
I mean now we're looking at scores more that have died in Palestine or in Gaza that died in Israel. I mean, basically, that's what we're looking at. And, we're not keeping score here. We're not keeping score. Israel 1 and freaking Gaza 0 or whatever the case may be. It's a travesty that we were able to stop, but we decided to fund. And we're getting right back into an Afghanistan, right back into an Iran war. We're getting right back into the Middle East conflict, which we were out of when Trump was in office. And I didn't agree with everything that Trump did, but one thing that he didn't do is he did not get us into any wars. He bombed the shit out of people, but he didn't get us in any wars. And there was pretty much peace in the Middle East. So, besides Syria, which has always been a fucking shit show, And
yeah, but that was kind of like a leftover thing from the
well,
Obama era.
that's what I'm saying. You would be more attuned and educated about that, Harkus, than anybody here. So
that whole mess was from 9/11
Bush.
on.
Bush.
I put everything on W for
W
that, and
W for sure.
I hear people say we should bring our troops home. The question I ask is where, from Germany or Japan? Because that's where it started.
Well, not only that, I mean, you talk about that. I mean, how many fucking military bases do we have around the world? And how many military bases does Russia have or China have around the world? I mean,
China's been expanding, so
that's fine. That's fine.
They don't have any technical military installations, but they have compounds all over Africa, Australia. They own whole towns in Australia.
That's fine, but I don't see no airstrips with fucking jets on them. I don't see no fucking fighter jets there.
Yeah,
that's
not
what I'm
yet.
saying.
It's because
every place you go, man, we have fucking carriers and fucking fighter jets, fucking subs in the water and shit. I mean, he's talking about us, being nation builders, and when really we're imperialists. And I hate to talk that way about my country. I really do, because I love my country.
But that's the truth. But if your mom's an alcoholic, you gotta say my mom's an alcoholic. Just because you love her doesn't mean it's not the truth.
Right. But to see the imperialism that we're enacting on other people it's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's basically what it is.
Yeah, we're an imperialist nation. I mean, we've always been considered to be the military force of the New World Order.
It's 100 years in.
Yeah, at least.
Oh yeah, we're well into 100 years in. Yeah, for sure. But
it did. Sorry, it's.
Besides this little fucking rah-rah campaign speech, I mean, for the most part, I think we've said everything, unless anybody else has stuff to say about it. I mean, basically,
I missed a little bit about it, so if we could just go back and start in the beginning, we can walk through it.
Okay, it was a campaign speech. It was a typical election year State of the Union address, and it was the same State of the Union address that he had in 2022, the same one Trump had 2020, and the same one Trump had in 2018.
Except for one caveat. Ken, you're gonna love this. In the speech today, Mr. Biden, Mr. 92 Crime Bill himself, said that people came from all over to this nation. Even he mentioned like people came over here to flee persecution and to flee the famine, like my family did. And some people came in chains just to get that American freedom. Like, yes, people came over here in chains to get freedom. That's correct.
That's about right.
That is correct. Yes.
Have y'all in chains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he's talking about how 59 years ago was the Bloody Sunday in Selma. And talking about how Martin Luther King did all this stuff and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah. And then you honored, and then he said that because of the actions in Selma, it inspired him at 29 years old to go into Congress. And I'm like, oh, and then put forward the 92 crime bill and put all the black people back in jail. Is that what you mean? Yep. That's what you're talking about? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't feel like I missed anything tonight.
You didn't miss anything. If you said
and the one thing I said this morning on our show, I said, "What if he does a good job?" And the little parts of it that I did watch, I'm like, he did all right. He had one of his
lasted for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he went
for 90 fucking minutes, man. I could not believe it. I was impressed.
When you guys were talking about, they're putting somebody up for that. Nope, he still has just enough in him that he can perform when he knows he has to.
He freestyled a little bit too.
He's going to sleep for 3 days. I mean, they're going to put him to bed for 3 days.
I'm sure it's better living through chemistry as well.
They're going to pack him in ice and just fucking put him to bed for 3 days.
Yeah, and he freestyled a little bit too, because like sometimes he'd say something, somebody called us in the crowd, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, so you think?" And like he just like sit there and talk to him for half a second or whatever.
He was very confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, he had to be. He has no chance right now. He has to become. Now they're like, okay, now it's Trump and me. I better become the biggest swinging dick on the.
Well, he looked like the president that was going to take Trump out to the fucking woodshed and beat his ass. So that's the guy he looked like tonight.
Oh, please let that happen.
That would be nice to see.
Let's have Joe Rogan.
I'd watch that on a pay-per-view, dude. I would pay fucking $99 for a pay-per-view on that.
So would I.
I would find $99 and do that. Absolutely, man. Yeah, you didn't miss a whole lot. It was just a bunch of dumb shit, and then of course I'm saying a bunch of contradictory shit. About oh yeah, we want to tax the millionaires and billionaires and add $300 billion over the next 10 years. It's like that's nothing. That's like inflation, standard inflation, not even hyperinflation. And then the whole fucking decrease in Medicare expenses and decrease in prescription drugs. He said that he wanted to make it to where nobody pays over $2,000 a year for prescription medication regardless. And it's like, so what if somebody is like on 25 pills a day? They should just $2,000 max.
That's too much medication for my wife.
Yeah, $2,000.
That's 2 months.
Yeah. Well, she should pay no more than that for a whole year. So does that mean she only gets 2 months worth of medication for the whole year?
Well, you won't have to pay because you drop dead.
Well,
Month 3 it's over.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what it's gonna be.
I heard the part where he said it was kind of late and he was like, billionaires should not pay less in taxes than a secretary or a janitor or whatever, and he's proposing that the billionaires are going to pay 25% tax. And the crowd goes crazy, and I'm like, all right, let's unwind this for just a minute. How do billionaires make their money? It's not income tax. You're talking about income tax, you son of a bitch. Yeah. And if you're gonna take a billionaire and say we're gonna take 25% of what you make, you have $1 billion. You still have $750 million. I'll go. But
that $1 billion wasn't income.
I'll go to any household in the country and say, you've got $10. Give me $2.50. You still have $7.50. This isn't going to kill you. You're going to be just fine. And I'm going to take this $2.50 and I'm going to go down the street to the Target and I'm going to give it to the manager because that's where it's all going to end up going. It doesn't end up going. It doesn't end up in the.
It's going to go back into his pocket, and it's going to go back into the guy that you just took the $10 from because he's the owner of fucking Target.
Yep. And just here you go. So there it is. At the, I'm in the middle of doing my taxes now, so I'm just.
Well, you see, the whole thing is that the American people are fucking stupid because they don't realize the circle of monetary policy and of economics in general, dude. It doesn't matter whether you trickle up or trickle down. The guy at the top is always going to get the money because he's the one producing the fucking goods. He's the one creating the jobs, and he's the one that's creating prosperity for the people that fucking live in his area.
You can't consume. You can't consume your way to prosperity. You have to produce. You have to produce your way to prosperity. No. And I wouldn't say people are stupid. I wouldn't say people are stupid. I would say they're ignorant, and I think those two words get interchanged a lot. Where they
let me tell you, if uneducated.
Well, that's ignorant. There's an ignorant. They just don't know what they don't know. So what they're told, they just believe because they have no willfully uneducated.
Right. And that's ignorance there. When you're willfully there's one thing about being uneducated because you can always learn it. And then there's willfully uneducated because you listen to this crap, you believe it, and then you don't go any further with it.
Right. I was ignorant of the Bible. Until, because I never did any church thing or anything like that until I was like 42, 43 years old. I started going to church, and I was ignorant, and that I was also uneducated. So that's a good definition there too, a difference, because as I started figuring it out and reading it and trying to ask questions about what does this mean? Well, I don't know about this. What are these people doing? Why is that? Why is he kicking over tables and what's this salt stuff in the 900-year-old guy that has 46 kids? But it was an.
Well, that's because he was a lineage of Thoth, but yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Well, you know how that goes.
And the other thing, Ken, is that I had to explain to Bruce what an assault rifle was. And I straight up told him an assault rifle is a rifle made out of salt.
Yeah, duh.
I don't have my assault rifle with me.
I can't believe Bruce didn't know that.
But I don't have my assault rifle. I have an assault rifle.
Yeah, he wants to ban assault rifles. I'm surprised they didn't say weapons of war. They usually been using that one alongside of it, but now they say assault rifles and high capacity magazines.
If the Democrats get all 3 houses, that'll happen again because they did it when Clinton did it, and
but they didn't do it when Obama had 3 houses. Though.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court continually protects that right, and they continually they're unified in that. They're not going to change their minds on that. I don't see them changing their mind on it.
That's funny.
You never know.
I know.
They wanted that. This is we're 1 or 2 shootings away from doing that in the right way, right before the election. You'll see it. There'll be a mass shooting sometime in early October, mid-October. That'll be just horrific.
Yeah,
they'll find one or create one.
Yeah, they'll create one. They'll create one. Yeah, and it'll probably be against probably be down there at the border.
And they'll make me illegal, and that's what they'll do. Yeah, and they'll make
probably be down at the border.
The deal with the assault rifle ban before is the number of people that had like AR style rifles wasn't that many, because it wasn't. We talked about it in the past. A lot of states couldn't even hunt with them, and they weren't that awesome of a gun. Well, then the assault weapons ban came in, and when it lapsed, then it was like, okay, now we've got some really ingenious people that have been creating guns that do the same thing as those. They just had different stocks and stuff on them, and you've got 20 years of technology thrown at them, and now they're incredible guns. And most people, if you're like me, you're not going to just have one, because they get lonely sitting in the safe there.
They do get lonely,
And then what am I going to do? Am I going to take $4,000 or $5,000 worth of guns and just turn them over to the government, or put them in a, No, I'm not. And if they come to take them, my wife has. There's very few hills I'll die on, but that's one, because I've watched what happens in history when the guns go away, and I don't want to live in that country.
Yeah, I don't want to live in that country.
And so that's right. My instructions to my wife was like, run out the back door if they're knocking on the front door like that, because someone needs to live to tell the story. You'd probably be arrested and go to jail, but they're not going to kill you.
Like I was telling him, yeah. Au revoir, Shoshana.
Yeah, because they can't shoot some black woman in the back. Is why they won't kill her.
Well, yeah, not unless it looks like she has a gun in her hand. It was actually a cell phone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I told
or unless she's just laying in bed and it was an accidental fucking no-knock raid, Breonna Taylor situation.
Fucking idiots,
yeah, that would be, again, good luck with that. They'd have to no-knock raid through my bedroom window.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's how they got that Breonna Taylor lady, man. She was just innocent shit, like the fucking dude that they were going after. He wasn't even the right guy, too.
Well, no, I know, but there's innocent, and then there's going after someone that's ready to have something happen. That's the difference. Yeah. So I rue the day that would ever happen. But that's just the way that that's where people need to be. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's the door, get shot. That's it.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too about how, like, in Chicago, like, they have a motto: I'd rather get caught with a gun than caught without one. Meaning, like, they'd rather get caught and go to jail for having a gun because they're illegal, as opposed to getting caught without one and getting shot and killed,
or robbed or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the time it's just killing, but it's just like, we need to ban guns. Well, guess what? Chicago has no handguns. They have no guns whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers are getting shot all the time.
Wholesale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Kanye says, wholesale. Fucking motherfuckers dying all the time. And then, and then whenever he was saying that shit about fucking, October 7th was a bad thing and blah, blah, blah over there. I'm like, yeah, they're having an October 7th worth of deaths every single day in Gaza now because Gaza's going. He contradicted himself like a motherfucker on that part.
Yeah.
So much. Because, like, he was talking about how, like, Israel had to go after Hamas, but then he's sitting there saying, well, yeah, but, Israel, like, he hit both sides of the fence back and forth. Because he's like, Israel had to go over after Hamas because Hamas is a bad thing. But then, Israel is going too hard and stuff like that. They need to stop the fighting and everything like that. And then he's like, oh, and then he's gonna issue a what was it, a temporary pier or something like that? He called it
temporary pier to deliver all the
deliver the goods. But not one boot will be on the ground of an American soldier.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, and I told him, like, once they put that temporary pier up, they're going to get rushed with civilians.
There's
Oh,
already
yeah.
boots on the ground.
So
There's
the
all-
people, this is gonna sound really cold, but fuck the people of Israel, fuck the people of Gaza equally, or save them both equally. But if someone attacks me, and if you look at the history of Israel, they've done some shit, and Hamas has done some stuff.
Yep.
It's just a fact of, all right, you launched a bunch of missiles in, you drop people into this, and this was the big thing of when they dropped parachute into what do you call it? They parachute into that concert and started shooting people and making. I'm sorry, you do that, you're going to get repercussions, and if you pick on a bully, if you're going to try and be a bully and you're not up to the fight, you're going to get your ass kicked, and you should get your ass kicked. So what's going on in the West Bank right now? My only problem is we're throwing money at it. Israel can take care of business without a problem.
Yeah, dude.
And I frankly don't care if they do or they don't. So, I mean, it's people don't want to, everyone's like, oh, well, this person, that person. I hate everyone getting killed. It sucks.
My
but
premise
guess
is
what?
this. My premise is this, dude. If we're so big and badass motherfuckers that we are the world fucking police, then we should plant our ass on the fucking border of fucking Gaza and fucking Israel and say, this fucking stops fucking today. And have everybody in the fucking UN back us up and just say, this is fucking stopping fucking today. You stay on your side of the fucking fence. Gaza, you stay on your side of the fucking fence. Neither one of the two fucking talk. Don't look at each other. Don't fucking blink at each other. Don't stick your tongue out. Don't flip each other off. I mean, I know it's an impossibility.
Yeah, and the thing has to be, too, is that Israel has to relinquish control over Gaza's territory completely back to Gaza. They can't control their electricity anymore. They can't control their water anymore. They can't control shipping into that country from anywhere, including the sea blockade that they have. They can't stop people from fishing without a fucking license in the goddamn Mediterranean Sea. They can't do that shit anymore. If that's a sovereign fucking state, like they claim it is, they need to get the fuck up out of Gaza. They're running an open air prison. They've been doing it for fucking decades now. And I get what you're saying. Like October 7th, yeah, they started some shit. Well, guess what? Israel finished that shit within 2 days. They had double the fucking casualties on the Gazan side. They should have stopped immediately, but they're not, because bare minimum they wanted, let alone possibly even orchestrated that shit to happen. That way they could have pretext to go in and clear everyone out of Gaza and say, hey, it's ours now.
Gaza was theirs anyway.
Exactly, but they want to get all those Arabs out of there. No,
well, it's not.
They're Jews, man. They gotta have everything clean. Yeah,
but this is where you're wrong, because there's Arabs, there's people that work and live in Israel and travel back and forth and stuff like that. There was a peaceful way out of it, and Hamas just wants, when they say that they want to just wipe out Israel, they just want to wipe out Israel. What my problem is that what I'm saying is, fuck it, let them all fight each other, and whoever wipes out the other one wins, and let's just keep hey, okay, you two kids, go fight it out.
That'd be great. Great.
But see, the thing is, though, too, is that the United States we're giving Israel money, and then we're also bribing the surrounding countries to hold back from fucking just decimating Israel.
I totally get it.
And sending Gaza fucking money too. And the whole thing is like, what Jason Stapleton said, like, very much is like, war fucking sucks. And if it was him, and I've heard him say this before, you go in, you fucking kick fucking ass all the way until they're
that they will not lift a finger to go against you again.
And it's unfortunate. I cry about these freaking, the civilians of Gaza that are dying and shit like that. But the fact is that that's how you fucking win a war. You go in with unfucking merciful fucking violence and freaking mayhem and everything, and you stop this thing within days, not fucking years, not months, not weeks, not years, not fucking decades. Now. You do it fucking now, and either do it or you fucking don't.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, though, is that at the same time, yeah, it may stop it, but they thought that they had everything taken care of after the '67 war, and it just keeps on perpetuating because people keep. But when you kill people, you fucking grow two more fucking people will want to kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we keep talking about
there's some places you're just not going to be able to cure.
Right. Well, no, I agree with that. What I'm just saying is the premise of go in there and just kick ass so they don't want to kick your ass again. Well, you're going to have to literally kill everyone to make sure that nobody wants to come back and kick your ass.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to go scour the world for anybody who didn't like what you just did when you just massacred everybody and kill all them too so they don't try to kill you. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes, because if they wiped out everybody in Gaza and said, all right, fuck it, we're done with this shit. Well, guess what? Now they got all of fucking Lebanon that wants to just demolish them now too. And then they got fucking half of fucking Syria. They got the whole fucking half of Iran, half of fucking Iraq that wants to kick their ass and shit like that too now. And you know, it just keeps stacking up like that. You get Somalia involved, piss off UAE
it'll
enough.
never stop because the people over there are not going to work with each other. And if they're not going to work with each other, we shouldn't be spending any money on either side.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I'm Israel and I'm raising my family and my kids and I'm sitting there in Israel just living my life, doing my thing, and they're launching missiles over at us constantly, because they constantly were.
Right.
And Israel would retaliate and retaliate in kind and try to be they've in the last 20 years Israel has tried to be pretty precise with their shit when they could just go in there and just level. And I'm a nuke and pave kind of guy. And when it comes down to if it's my family, I don't give a shit about your family, any of you three. If they're coming at me and it's your side that's doing it, I'm wiping out every motherfucker that I can find until I'm safe. And if I make 10 more enemies doing that and I got to kill them too, then I'm going to kill them too. You know, they did a whole documentary series on this a few years ago. It was called, I'm trying to think of the name, Walking Dead. That's what it is. So I mean, there's no way we're gonna end the wars there. It's gonna burn, bubble up somewhere else. Africa's about to be an absolute disaster,
hot, dude.
You know,
and that's probably why we've had Africon for about the last 15, 20 years or whatever.
So if you look at what's going on in that Middle East right there, you know, everyone's trying to blame this person or blame that person. I'm like, hey, look, Netanyahu is an ass-kicking bully, is what he is. But he doesn't want to take anyone's shit. And he knows where his friends are, and he knows he can reach out over here. And now there's pushback on the left. And these idiots that are trying to save, that think Hamas is some kind of, you know, a grand wonder. I mean, Hamas is an evil group. They got voted in, and they just Hitlered it. They're like, yeah, we don't need to vote anymore. You guys, we're just going to do this now, and you don't like it, we'll throw you off a building, we'll bury you in the... It's like, come on, people. It's okay.
And they were supported by Netanyahu's government back then too.
Exactly.
That's the thing, is they perpetuated their own fucking devils.
We did too.
It was an overwhelming vote by their people. The people of Gaza, you know, voted them in unanimously. So you get what you pay for.
And I'm sure that was a purely fair and just election too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the United States, because according to Victoria Nuland,
just like Zelensky. I mean, come on, man. Zelensky was installed, man. They had a fair election. They voted in what was Poroshenko, right? Is that who it was?
Something like that.
I think it was Poroshenko or something like that. The U.S. came in and said no, and then they installed fucking Zelensky. And
which is like we installed Saddam Hussein, we installed Muammar Gaddafi, we installed the fucking Shah of Iran. Yeah, exactly.
You go back, look up the Sykes-Picot Treaty of like 1916.
Yeah, that motherfucking thing.
That is what started this all, and that's when England and Europe. We didn't have shit to do with that, and even Woodrow Wilson, our worst president ever, was like, "That's a bad idea, guys. They're all gonna fight each other over there," and they're like, "No, we got this."
Was because the Ottoman Empire had everybody separated by ethnic group. And then after Sykes-Picot, we just drew lines in the middle of all that shit. And then so then that's why, you know, we had to install these heavy-handed dictators to fucking keep people in line. You know, that's why
they're all fighting each other. Yeah,
exactly. That's why Saddam Hussein had a in a Shia majority area, he had a Sunni control, even though he was a Ba'athist. Right, because and then he had to like keep everybody in line, just be like, hey, look, You know, they had to have the heavy-handed shit just to keep everybody in line because you had the lines drawn wrong. That's why now, after the whole ISIS situation in Iraq, that's why half of Iraq is like pro-Iran and the other half is not, because they actually separated amongst tribal lands again.
And then
that's why
in the middle of all this really starting to bubble up in the 40s, they said after the World War II, we said, why don't we make this little spot here for those people? And that's and it's Israel, because it's the biblical Israel. It really is their home. And we feel bad about,
but they lost it forever ago.
We feel bad about the world turning a blind eye to 6 million of you getting killed. So here you can have this space that, and arguably, if you look at where the space was back then, they're like, we pushed all these people out. Yeah, some people got pushed out. They were also allowed to stay if they wanted to, and the land that they got was not good. It was,
and the thing is too,
and they turned it all into what it is today. So people, whether you like it or not, it is what it is, and the reason all this fighting is there is because it goes back to Sykes-Picot dividing everyone up and then plopping in the middle of it the most hated group in the world in that area.
And Dave Smith did a pretty good breakdown about this like a week or two ago. Whenever he was talking about it, he was saying that, like, you know, the Zionists with Herzl or whatever his name is, they were going in there and they were like, hey, look, we can just take over this land right here in Palestine where nobody lives, but there was like millions and millions of people that lived there, and we just pushed them out. They just pushed them out of the way and said, no, fuck you, that's not your house anymore. And then every year after that, these cars taking more and more and more and more and more. You keep stealing people's land. Eventually they push back, unless you do like you did to the Native Americans and just extinguish them.
Well, and also, it wasn't totally like that, though, because what was happening is that in the 30s and 40s, many Jewish people were buying land there that no one else wanted. And so it was a mixture of the two, and you never hear the whole story. There's always someone pushing their side of the agenda. The fact of the matter is there was a shit ton of Jews that lived there and owned land in that area. Palestine was never a territory. Palestine is named like the Midwest. You know, it's like if we said we're Midwesterners, so, you know, Midwesterners need our land. What does it mean? It means nothing. It means I lived in this area. It's not a country. It's not anything. It was no man's land, basically, is what it was. And so the way it was formed, the way it had gone, the amount of hate between well, like you said, the Sunnis, the Shia, the Jews, all the Arabs,
Kurds, and
the Kurds,
everybody. Yep.
I mean, those people,
the Coptic Christians, and all that stuff. Yep.
The fact that they can't get their shit together and figure it out is the problem. It's not that Israel attacked Hamas heavier than they attacked back. Fuck, if I was Israel, I would have wiped Hamas off the map.
Well, they were on it.
And it would have been over, and, you know, the whole world would have hated us, and I just been saying, all right, well, if the world's going to come at us, they're going to come at us, but here we go.
Well, that's what they're doing. I mean, they got half of the northern half of Gaza is rubble, and everybody's in the southern half now.
But they could have rolled through there and just wiped it out. I mean,
they could have done it faster. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying. That's
right.
You know, this is why I can't be president, because if someone attacks us, it'd be like it would be over. You know, I'd just be like, all right, everything's going over there, and we're gonna just wipe it all out until it's just glass, and come back home. And if you're gonna attack us, then all right, here we are. Come on.
Yeah, the nation building thing is where we fuck up every time.
We should have been out. First of all, never should have gone into Iraq. The first time we shouldn't have either, but the second time we shouldn't have, for sure. And then Afghanistan, we should have been in there, taking care of business, been out of there in 6 months to a year.
Yeah, that's what Andy Stumpf was just saying on PBD's podcast as well too, because he was like, yeah, when Bush declared mission accomplished, we should have left then. Yeah. But we decided to fuck around for 20 years and try to build a nation in a place that didn't want the nation we wanted to build for them.
Were you in Iraq or Afghanistan?
I was in Iraq.
So,
and I was there from 2000. I was there 2006, 2007 when the fun was beginning. So that's when the insurgency was at its highest. That's when the Mahdi army was running around. That's when it was a civil war, and we were just sitting there babysitting and getting attacked at the same time. Yeah, and it was really, really fun. You know, I still remember the one day that I came in. I was it was during like a 4-month stint where I was doing it was guard duty on like one of the gates, and I was in the or it wasn't the QRF, it was the immediate response force, the IRF. And so we would be the first ones to go, and then the QRF would come in with the helicopters and fucking have fun. But anyway, I remember one day I came in to relieve the people that were working there, and I heard AK fire off in the distance. I'm like, is that AK fire? And they're like, yeah, there's like a battle going on over here in the town right